The first time it happened, I thought my phone was glitching. But then I heard myself breathing. Slow. Heavy. Sleeping. And that's when I realized something impossible. The sound was coming from my phone, while I was still awake. It was 2:41 a.m. I remember the exact time because I had just checked my phone before trying to sleep again. I had insomnia that week. Too much work, too much stress, and too much coffee. My apartment was silent. No TV. No traffic outside. Just the quiet hum of the ceiling fan spinning above my bed. Then my phone lit up. I didn't touch it. The screen turned on by itself, casting a pale blue light across my dark bedroom. At first I assumed it was a notification. But there was no message. No call. Instead, the audio player opened automatically. And then it started playing. At first I thought it was static. Soft noise. Like someone breathing into a microphone. Then my stomach tightened. Because the breathing sounded familiar. Too familiar. It sounded exactly like me when I sleep. Slow inhale. Soft exhale. A faint snore. My heart started beating faster. Okay, that's weird, I muttered to myself. I grabbed the phone and looked at the screen. The audio file had no title. Just numbers. Recording _2047_03_11. I frowned. I didn't remember recording anything. And definitely not something like this. The breathing continued through the phone speaker. Slow. Peaceful. Like someone completely asleep. But the worst part? I was listening to it while sitting awake in my bed. My fingers felt cold as I paused the audio. The room went silent again. For a moment I just sat there, staring at the screen. Trying to convince myself it was just some kind of bug. Maybe my phone accidentally recorded something earlier. Maybe it was picking up background noise. Maybe I was overthinking. Yeah. That had to be it. I forced a small laugh and placed the phone on the nightstand. Relax, Daniel, I whispered to myself. But just as I leaned back into my pillow, the phone started playing again. This time I didn't touch it. The audio resumed on its own. And the breathing returned. But something was different. There was another sound now. A faint noise in the background. Soft. Almost too quiet to notice. At first I couldn't understand what it was. Then my blood turned ice cold. Because the sound was footsteps. Slow footsteps. Moving across a wooden floor. My floor. Inside my apartment. I froze. Completely still. The audio kept playing. My sleeping breaths filled the room through the speaker. And behind them. Those quiet footsteps. Step. 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 Each one slow. Careful. Like someone trying not to wake me. My chest tightened. I slowly turned my head toward the bedroom door. It was half open. The hallway outside was dark. Silent. Empty. But the recording continued. Footsteps walking closer. Closer. Closer to the bed. And then. The footsteps stopped. Right next to the microphone. For 3 seconds. There was nothing but my sleeping breaths. Then a voice whispered. Right into the phone. And the voice said something that made my entire body go numb. Because it whispered my name. Very softly. Very clearly. Daniel. I slammed the pause button so hard I almost dropped my phone. The room was silent again. But my heart was pounding so loud it felt like it was echoing off the walls. Nope, I said out loud. Nope. 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 I jumped out of bed and turned on the bedroom light. Nothing. No one. My apartment looked exactly the same as always. The door. The hallway. The kitchen. Empty. I checked every room. Closet. Bathroom. Living room. Even under the bed. Nothing. No one was there. Finally I returned to my bedroom, feeling slightly calmer. Okay, I whispered. Someone must be messing with me. Maybe a prank. Maybe some weird downloaded audio file. Maybe malware. That explanation made sense. It had to. Because the alternative was impossible. Right? I picked up my phone again. My hands were shaking slightly as I opened the audio file. The progress bar showed something strange. The recording was 2 hours long. My stomach dropped. 2 hours? That meant the recording started at 12:41 a.m. Exactly when I usually fall asleep. I stared at the phone. A horrible thought began forming in my mind. Slowly. Like a shadow creeping across the floor. What if this recording wasn't old? What if it was recorded tonight? While I was sleeping. Inside my bedroom. And then my phone vibrated. A new notification appeared on the screen. Unknown file received. I frowned. I hadn't downloaded anything. But the notification expanded. And my chest tightened as I read the file name. Recording _2047_03_12. The timestamp said it was created 5 seconds ago. My hands began to shake again. Because I was still holding the phone. Which meant only one thing. Someone. Or something. Was recording me. Right now. And then the new audio file started playing automatically. This time the sound wasn't breathing. It was something worse. Because the first thing I heard was my own voice. Whispering. From inside the recording. Saying something I knew I had never said. 3 words that made my skin crawl. I see you. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. My phone speaker repeated the words again in the recording. My voice, saying something I never said. I see you. My throat went dry. I immediately paused the audio. The room was quiet again, but the silence didn't make me feel better. If anything, it made everything worse. Because now I knew something was very wrong. I stared at my phone screen. The file was real. Recording _2047_03_12 created just seconds ago. But how? My phone had been in my hand the entire time. Slowly, my brain started trying to find a logical explanation. Maybe it was malware. Maybe someone hacked my phone. Maybe it was some kind of automatic recording app. Yeah, that had to be it. But then another thought crept into my mind. A much darker one. If someone hacked my phone. That meant someone could also access my microphone. Which meant someone could be listening to me right now. I looked around my bedroom again. The light was still on. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I swallowed and forced myself to play the recording again. The audio resumed. My voice whispered again through the speaker. I see you. Then the recording continued. This time I heard something else. Fabric moving. Like someone shifting their weight. Then the sound of breathing. But it wasn't my breathing. It was slower. Deeper. And it was very close to the microphone. My heart started racing again. Then I heard a soft creak. My bedroom door. Opening. Inside the recording. But my real door was already open. I turned my head slowly and looked at it. Still open. Still empty. Still silent. The recording continued. Footsteps again. Slow. Careful. Walking across the floor. Then stopping right next to the bed. Exactly where I had been sleeping earlier. My stomach twisted. Because the microphone must have been on the nightstand. Right next to my pillow. Which meant whoever made this recording had been standing right beside me while I slept. Then the recording picked up another sound. A faint tapping noise. Tap. 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 I frowned. It sounded familiar. Then I realized what it was. Someone tapping. On the phone screen. Using my phone. My hands suddenly felt ice cold. Then I heard my voice again. But it wasn't whispering this time. It sounded like I was talking in my sleep. Slow. Groggy. Half-conscious. You shouldn't be here, my chest tightened. I didn't remember saying that. But the recording kept going. Then another voice appeared. A second voice. Low. Calm. Right next to the microphone. Go back to sleep, Daniel. I felt like my heart stopped. Because I had never heard that voice before. And it definitely wasn't mine. In the recording, my sleeping voice responded weakly. Who are you? There was a long pause. For several seconds, the recording only played the sound of breathing. Then the stranger spoke again. But this time, his voice sounded closer. Like he was leaning down toward the phone. And what he said made my stomach drop. I've been here every night. My fingers trembled as I held the phone. The audio continued. In the recording, my sleeping self shifted slightly. The bed sheets moved. Then I heard myself mumble something. What do you want? The stranger chuckled softly. A quiet, cold laugh. I just like watching. My entire body went numb. Watching. He had been watching me. While I slept. For how long? Days? Weeks? Months? The recording suddenly cut off. The audio player reached the end. I sat there on my bed, staring at the screen. My breathing felt shallow now. Fast. Panicked. No, I whispered. No, this can't be real. But before I could even think about what to do next, my phone vibrated again. Another notification appeared. Unknown file received. My stomach dropped. Slowly. I looked at the screen. A new file appeared. Recording _2047_03_13 created just now. But that wasn't the worst part. Because underneath the file name, there was a small preview image. A screenshot taken from the recording. And when I saw the picture, my entire body went cold. It was a photo of my bedroom. Taken from inside the room. From the corner near the closet. The photo showed my bed. My nightstand. My phone in my hand. And me. Sitting there staring at the screen. Which meant only one thing. The recording wasn't from earlier. It was happening right now. Someone was inside my apartment. Watching me.